I'm not into, even though I'm a person of the left, I was, I am, I will be. That's my politics. I'm not into cheap rhetoric. It's just, I'm not into sloganeering. It's not my cup of tea. However, having said that, there is simply no question whatsoever that President Barack Obama was the chief enabler or the enabler-in-chief of this massacre. Now, wait. There are people who will be watching this on camera and they'll say, okay, that's just another leftist bashing Obama. So, I'm going to ask you, I have 2 more minutes, I'm going to ask you to look at the facts and decide for yourself. Every day that Israel was committing these massive atrocities in Gaza, each day that these atrocities were being committed, and as I said, after a week, they were being copiously and carefully documented by the major human rights organizations. Each day, what did Barack Obama and his spokespersons do? They just came out each day with that insipid bromide. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. In the face of all the human rights organizations documenting that they're targeting civilian structures, there are no Hamas militants in vicinity. All he said was, or his spokespersons, he just kept saying, Israel has the right to defend itself. Each time he said that, he was sending Israel the green light to continue the massacre. That was the message he was sending. Now, some of you might say, unfair. Did he really have any control over this lunatic state? Well, yes, it is a lunatic state, but it hasn't lost complete control of its senses. That's not true. It's a psychopathic state, and psychopaths have rational moments. So, what happened? Look yourself at the record. It's not my rhetoric. Look at the record. Israel bombs one UN school that's used as a shelter. It then hits another UN school used as a shelter. It then hits a third UN school used as a shelter. Then a fourth, and then the fifth. By the time we reach the fifth, the internal UN structure is reaching a boiling point. Ban Ki-moon, wake up. You comatose puppet of the United States. Wake up. And finally, miracle of miracles, like Christ rising from the dead, Ban Ki-moon says, this is a criminal act. Can you believe it? Ban Ki-moon is now calling Israel's actions criminal. And so Obama is now isolated on the world stage. He's looking ridiculous. He's looking absurd. And so finally, when the fifth school was hit on August 3rd, when Ban Ki-moon called it criminal, and Mr. Obama realized he had even lost control of his puppet, finally the State Department called it a disgraceful act, a terrible act, and then what happened? Go back and look. The very same day that the U.S. State Department, the Obama administration said something, Netanyahu announced it's over. The ground invasion is over. We're withdrawing. Anybody who has an ounce of gray matter upstairs, which excludes many of the people in that building, anyone who has an ounce of gray matter upstairs can see cause and effect. The moment the U.S. said, it's gone too far, you've crossed a red line, at that moment, the operation was over. So Netanyahu, even if he is a maniac, unfortunately he is, he hasn't gone completely over the cliff. He understands when you cross that red line with the United States, then you have to do what the master tells you. And it was over. The last thing I want to just say is, it's impossible to predict at this point how it's going to end. It's pretty much a stalemate now. I'm afraid that it's going to end badly for the people of Gaza. I could be mistaken. But whichever way it ends, if Israel didn't completely get its way, it really is because of the heroic, the honorable, the dignified, the indomitable people of Gaza. It's a sight to behold. I was only in Gaza once after the blockade. I was there after Operation Cast Lead. And the thing that struck me most about the people of Gaza, we went around, saw all the death, all the destruction. What struck you about the people of Gaza was absolutely nobody complained. It was just like, okay, this is what needs to be done. They're looking ahead. They don't wear their suffering on their shoulder. They don't complain. We're just going to move on. And they remind me, if I can leave you with one last image, there is a film from the 1930s, which probably nobody in this place has ever seen. It's a cult kind of film. It's called Freaks. Who's seen Freaks? Raise your hand. Oh, great. This is a very culturally enlightened group. And Freaks is about a circus. And in the circus, there are the freaks, the ones who have misshapen bodies, born with all of these defects, and they're constantly ridiculed, humiliated, degraded by the circus owner, normal people. And one night, the freaks, it's the last scene. There's the thunder, the lightning, and you see the distance, and rising from the ground are all the freaks. And they're slowly, step by step, approaching the circus owners, the normal people. And obviously those freaks, they were the metaphor for the wretched of the earth, the ones who have no rights, the ones who are treated like garbage, who are treated like dead grass. And I think of the people of Gaza like those freaks, the ones who have so much more dignity, so determined that come what may, they're going to win their rights or die trying to. I don't recommend to anyone to give their life because I've lived a very privileged existence and I don't know how I would react if faced with the prospect of liberty or death. But I have no doubt that our first moral obligation is to support those people who are willing to make the sacrifice, willing to give their life, willing to have all of that death and destruction visited on them because they refuse to live the life of freaks. They refuse to be degraded. They refuse to be humiliated. They refuse to be stepped on. And they refuse to be told that they're not worth more than dead grass. So, in praise, in honor, in everything I'm capable of, to the great, wonderful people of Gaza. Thank you.